to Was It Something I Said? The panel show all about quotations and the quoted people who quotated them. The quotatorizers, as I believe they're technically called. Or is it quotatonators? Whoever they are, and whatever the hell they're called, that's who we'll be asking questions about. On Micky Flanagan's team, an Englishman, an Irishman and a Scotsman are just 3 ways not to describe Welsh comedian Rhod Gilbert. And with Richard Ayoade tonight, an Englishman, an Irishman and a Scotsman are equally inappropriate ways of describing comedian Josie Long. And here to read our quotations is a broadcaster famous for his dodgy fashion sense on children's TV, who once said, "Looking back at my choice of shirts and jumpers, I really do cringe." But it was the 70s. Thank heavens it's only the fashion police he has to worry about. Please welcome legendary newsreader John Craven. Josie, do you have a favourite quotation?
Yeah, I do. There's this quote by Albert Camus, the miserable French writer, philosopher, pipe smoker, goalkeeper. That was the one I was looking for. And he says that, "In the depths of winter, I realised that within myself there was an invincible summer." And it's so awesome, but it's also meaningless, because that's not true. It was still winter till the middle of June. But it's beautiful, isn't it?
How many people here feel they've got an invincible summer lying within them? I worry sometimes I've got a drizzly autumn lying.
I'm just like a Russian doll of winter. Just open me up and there's more and more ice, coldness and despair.
And then a tiny baby one right in the middle.
Yeah, who's furious. No one even knows I'm here and it's cold.
Our opening round is called Threesomes. Many good things come in threes. French hens, billy goat scruff, blind mice. All rather nice starters in a Heston Blumenthal restaurant. Also coming in threes, 3 famous people who may have said a particular quotation. All our panellists have to do is decide which of the 3 said it. Now, as a modern, thrusting, go-getting panel show, you can play along at home by following @SomethingISaid on Twitter to unlock extra clips. The theme of this week's threesome is childhood. And can we have the first quotation, please, John?
My earliest memory is of our nanny trying to drown me in the bus. I promise you, Nursey Rogers was holding me under.
In a moment, I'll give you 3 famous faces to choose from. But before that, what do you make of the quote?
I think this statement sort of rules out most of the working class.
Do you?
Yeah, because we don't tend to have nannies that bath us. They tend to go, "Pack off, I've had mine, you go and do it," you know? I can't see it being Ray Winston, put it that way.
Maybe it's an upper-class person. The upper class is very weird about this sort of thing.
It's nice that whoever it is still calls them Nursey Rogers with some affection all these years later after the attempted assassination.
I'm going to narrow down your options now for who said this. Was it Claire Balding off Channel 4 Racing, Nick Hewer off The Apprentice, or Prince Harry off His Face?
If it was Prince Harry, we'd have read about it, wouldn't we? Surely, an assassination attempt on the...
If it was the royal family, they would have had her murdered. They would have. And the end of the quote would be, "She's dead now, of course. Special Forces."
That's the explanation.
What's your next question?
My grandmother's no longer with us now, of course. Special Forces.
How can your first memory be of being drowned? You see, I think it's conceptually quite hard for your first memory to incorporate the idea of death. Shit, they're trying to kill me. Oh, I don't know what life is. Am I alive? I'm a baby. I'm so brainy. What's happened?
I'll give you a clue. I can tell you that 2 of our threesome had nannies when they were growing up.
Do the royal family do any childcare?
I think they probably, you know, pick it up, give it a bit of a jiggle. You'd have to think of a name. Think of a name, go on the balcony, jiggle, jiggle, name, hand it back, and then go to its graduation.
Yeah.
Can I make a guess that Prince Harry didn't have a nanny because Princess Diana took them to Thorpe Park?
Oh, that's a good...
That's true.
I don't think that precludes the idea of a nanny, does it?
No,
yeah, no, it's flimsy, but I just thought maybe Princess Diana wouldn't let him have him.
Because she was a down-to-earth Earl's daughter.
Yeah, one of the people, though, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She took him to Butlins for a fortnight as well, didn't she?
I think he always wears the constant expression of a man who's sort of about to go under the water.
You go, "Ugh." Imagine working with him. How long would it be before you put a bit of shit in his pocket?
Incidentally, Mickey, how long do you usually find it before you...
Hold up. What have we got here?
Well, we need an answer.
OK.
Right, it's Nick Hewer.
Is that what you're choosing as well?
No, you can both choose the same thing.
Oh, it
You
takes the
think
edge
it's
out.
Nick Hewer?
We think Nick Hewer as well.
You think Nick Hewer? Well, the answer is Nick Hewer. Well done. Nick went on to say, I told my parents and she didn't last long after that. So even back then he was used to hearing people say, you're fired. John, when you were a child, you wanted to be a broadcaster, didn't you?
Well, yeah. When I was about 10, I think, I asked for a microphone as a birthday present. And I used to sit in the kitchen with the microphone, and the lead went through to the sitting room when I plugged into the wireless. And my parents had to listen to me reading the Yorkshire Evening News.
I think that's a very sweet image. I think if more children were sneaking into the next room and pretending to read the news, then I think there'd be, well, I'll say it, less drug abuse. I tell you what, I used to love the way on every episode of Newsround, you always started by going, hello again.
I did.
Which I loved the way you said hello again.
I also said, and finally. And finally. Long before Trevor McDonald did on News at 10.
He nicked and finally.
I think he did. Yeah.
That man's a fucking hack. I always knew it. So what did you say to the bastard?
Sir Trevor McDonald.
The bastard?
Yeah. We never actually discussed it, to be honest.
Well, you're a gentleman, unlike that thieving bastard.
OK, John, can we have the next quotation on childhood, please?
Indeed. I can still recall in slow motion the way my sausage shot across the table towards the Queen as she sipped her tea.
So, was it Claire Balding, Nick Hewer or Prince Harry?
It's not Prince Harry, because there's no way that Prince Harry would say the Queen, because he knows her.
They call her the Queen, though, in the royal family.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
heard,
Oh, is
I've
the
heard
Queen
Prince
coming
Charles refer to his mother, who is the Queen, as the Queen.
What, he says the Queen?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think he says the Queen, like, when he's with her, you know, having a cup of tea. I don't say, hello, the Queen, could you pass the sugar?
It must be Prince Harry, because it has to be breakfast. The only time that one person will be having tea and another one will be having a sausage is breakfast time. And the only one who would be breakfasting with the Queen is Prince Harry. Otherwise, one of the other two has smuggled a sausage in while they've been invited for tea.
Well, we're going to go for Claire Balding, actually, I think, because she seems the sort of person who would be invited to evening tea, and I think the Queen makes it up as she goes along. If she wants sausages, she's having sausages.
No, it's going to be Prince Harry. He's the only one who breakfasts with the Queen. Otherwise, you're suggesting, what occasion would the Queen be sipping tea and she's got a sausage out?
Bonfire night.
Bonfire night.
They could be sort of...
Sausages, jacket potatoes.
She's got a flask of tea.
Claire
and she
Balding might have hosted a celebrity bonfire night.
Oh, the Queen's invited to celebrity bonfire night.
Thank you, yes.
She's on Big Brother next time as well, probably.
G5 and the Queen is... the Queen is crying in the diary room. I don't know why I came in here. Things are going so well.
So, whose sausage shot across the table towards the Queen? Was it Claire Balding, Nick Hewer or Prince Harry?
Claire Balding.
Richard and Josie?
Claire Balding.
Claire Balding. Everyone thinks it's Claire Balding. The answer is Claire Balding. Everyone's right. So, John, can we have Claire's quotation in full, please?
Indeed. The trouble with cutting a sausage long ways is that if you press too hard, it's a bit like squeezing a bar of soap. The sausage can shoot out of your grasp. I know this. I know this all too well. I can still recall in slow motion the way my sausage shot across the table towards the Queen as she sipped her tea.
The incident took place in Claire's family dining room when she was 12. Her father used to train racehorses for the Queen. Now, how did a 14-year-old Harry try to make his father's 50th birthday party less boring?
He pretended the Queen had just been assassinated and went, "You're king!" And he went... And then he went, no, she's still alive. And he went, oh, come on now.
Do you think it wouldn't be more complex than that on Prince Charles if he told the Queen? There wouldn't be a sort of grief mixed with excitement at the... It would just be, hooray!
I think the grief would come after.
It's not true, Daniel. No. He stripped naked and ran around in front of the guests. One party-goer recalled Charles turned crimson. Ooh. I think Crimson was a gay friend of his. So, at the end of our threesomes round, I can tell you that the teams are tied. Our next round is called Keywords. The teams must guess a full quote from hearing just 2 words from it. So much like having a chat in a nightclub, except without the blaring so-called music that people feel they have to pretend they like. OK, here's a famous quotation from Muhammad Ali, said at a press conference in 1964 before his fight with Sonny Liston. And I'm looking for the entire quote. As your first clue, John, can we have 2 keywords, please?
Sting and eyes.
Is it like an extra bit of that quote everybody knows, float like, sting like a bee? Is it just another bit of that?
There's more to it than floats like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and it includes the word eyes.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, look around like eyes?
I will detach his retina from his eyes.
That could happen as well.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I'm going to give you another word, another clue word, please, John.
I hope it's not retina, because I guessed that.
Hands.
Hands.
Hands. It's a rhyming couplet.
It's a rhyming couplet?
Butterfly.
Sting a butterfly, float like a bee... Punch. Hang on, I'm playing charades with John Craven. This is exciting. Punch, punch, hit, hit.
Hit.
Sting like a butterfly, float like a bee, hit like eyes with my hands.
High as hands.
See.
His hands
Can't
can't...
see.
See.
Hit hands see horizon.
What his
Eyes can't see. His hands can't hit what his eyes can't see.
Yes.
This has turned into give us a clue. You're right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can we have the full quotation, please,
Indeed.
John?
Floats like a butterfly, sting like a bee. His hands can't hit what his eyes can't see.
Well done. Now, Muhammad Ali, or Cassius Clay, as he was then, said this quotation in 1964 before his fight with Sonny Liston. He also said, Sonny Liston is nothing. The man can't talk. The man can't fight. The man needs talking lessons. The man needs boxing lessons. And since he's going to fight me, he needs falling lessons. That's pretty cool, isn't it? In 1960, he won the light heavyweight gold medal in the Olympics in Rome. Any idea what was unusual about his flight to Rome?
It was delayed.
He flew the plane.
No.
There was no peanuts.
I don't know whether there were any
He was the
peanuts.
only one on it.
No?
He wasn't on it.
No, he was on it. These are all good answers, though. The answer is he wore a parachute. He was afraid of flying, and he bought one from an army surplus store.
It displays a singular lack of concern for everyone else on that plane. If you have got a parachute on, with the intention that you will jump clear of everyone else who's going down, that you just, can you open the door, please? I know that will preemptively suck a lot of the passengers out. I'm going to jump out, and you fucks, best of luck. I'm Cassius Clay.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. It was, what a terrible, terrible man. I'm ashamed to have mentioned him. Muhammad Ali once went to Iraq and successfully negotiated the release of 14 US hostages from Saddam Hussein. A strategy which didn't go quite so well when Tony Blair sent Frank Bruno to look for weapons of mass destruction. And at the end of our keywords round, a quick look at the scores tells me that Richard's team is in the lead. Over the break, see if you can complete this quotation from American rapper and businessman 50 Cent. I can't believe my grandmother's making me take out the garbage. I'm what? Tweet your answer to @somethingIsaid. See you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Was It Something I Said? Before the break, we asked you to complete this quotation from 50 Cent. I can't believe my grandmother's making me take out the garbage. I'm what? Any thoughts, panel?
I actually do know this.
You know it?
Because I saw it retweeted, yes. It's, he says, I can't believe my grandmother's making me take out the garbage. I'm rich. I don't have to put up with this shit. I'm going home. Like, he's just round at his grandmother's.
Yeah.
She's obviously can't move. And it's like, please, darling, will you take the rubbish out? And he's like, oh, forget this. I'm going home.
But the key word here is making. How violent is the grandmother being? We haven't met his grandmother. It could be a chokehold she's using. We don't know what's going on.
Let's hear the full quotation.
I can't believe my grandmother's making me take out the garbage. I'm rich. I'm going home. I don't need this S... John,
I noticed that you didn't say the word shit. Is that a point of principle?
I just choose not to swear on television, that's all.
I remember you dropping the C-bomb on Newsround.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that John says country file every week. But that seems quite a rarefied way of putting it. But yes, he was raised by his grandmother. What's he not allowed to do around her? 50 Cent.
Rap.
Well, it might restrict his rapping, this rule.
Oh, can he not swear? Like John Craven?
Yeah, exactly. He can't swear. John Craven chooses not to swear. 50 Cent is prevented from swearing by his all-powerful grandmother.
Maybe it's just the tone or the way she said it. I don't know. I don't know Fiddy, but he's not one to kind of do that unless provoked. I think she must have used a very haughty tone.
Now, the next round is called What Are They Talking About? You're going to hear a quote that's been taken out of context, and you've got to work out what that person is talking about. It's sort of like trying to start watching Game of Thrones from the middle of an episode in Season 3, except there will be no nudity. At least, no nudity above the desk line. Here's a quotation from artist Andy Warhol's diary in 1985. Can we hear it, please, John?
I don't know what held me back from pushing her over the balcony. I guess I called her a bitch or something and asked how she could do it.
So you're comfortable with the word bitch?
I did consider that very deeply, Richard.
Well,
but a bitch is the definition of a female of the species, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't feel I've been a bitch, you know, so I don't count that as real swearing.
OK. It'd probably have to be someone quite famous, because he was generally obsessed with famous people. Madonna?
No, it wasn't Madonna.
Grace Jones.
No?
Shall I keep naming 80s pop stars?
I would love you to.
T'Pau, Gross, Berlin, MC Hammer.
He's not talking about anyone famous.
OK.
Well, it was his wife or his girlfriend or a lover.
No.
A lover of some kind.
No, I'll give you a clue. It happened at a book signing.
Is it a fan? A fan of his, with a book of his?
A book signing.
To sign, yeah.
Whether or not she was a fan is put in doubt by her subsequent actions.
Did she throw paint all over him?
No.
Oh.
Did she say, sort out your barnet?
You're warm.
Something about, do you wear a wig?
You're getting warmer.
She tried to pull his ear off.
You got it. She snatched the wig off his head at the Rizzoli bookshop in Soho, where he was signing copies of his new book, America. Warhol described the event saying, "My biggest nightmare came true." Keep your hair on. So, at the end of the What Are They Talking About round, Richard's team is in the lead. Our next round is the Was It Something I Said round, in which each team has to work out who said the following quotations. It'll either be from one of our guests on the show tonight or from our virtual guest, Lance Armstrong. So be warned, a quote of yours could be judged the kind of thing that could only be said by one of the biggest lying cheats of all time. So first up is Mickey's team. Who said the following? Was it Richard, Josie, John, me, or Lance Armstrong?
A boo is a lot louder than a cheer. If you have 10 people cheering and one person booing, all you hear is the booing.
That's the sort of thing a stand-up would say, isn't it?
Lance Armstrong, though.
He's got a tight set. Well, the stuff about cycling, though. Bit of a one-note stand-up, Lance. I was in the saddle, and funny story.
Anyway, I was re-injecting my own blood. And,
Lance Armstrong, he'd have had people booing, definitely. Richard, is that recorded in front of a live... The IT crowd was, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, so you'll have had boos, yeah. David?
Why would they boo him on the IT crowd?
They saw me act.
Right, let's see if he recalls this. Boo!
Oh. Stop it, that's so much louder than 10 people cheering.
I can't see anyone booing John, you know. On Country Farm, I don't think as you go, and over here we have a cow, and everyone goes, boo! Moo! Moo!
right, I need an answer.
We're going to go for Richard.
Well, the answer is Lance Armstrong. So next up, it's Richard's team. Who said the following? Was it Mickey, Rod, John, me, or Lance Armstrong?
I've got 4,000 or 5,000 songs on my iPod.
That's just showing off, really.
Well, that can't be you.
No.
Because you
Like
have...
Brahms, and then podcasts about the Second World War.
underscored with Tapau. I think it is...
Do you know what I think?
You think it's crazy?
I think, yeah.
Does it help that I haven't got an iPod?
Oh, you're out of the game.
You know what, John? That helps a great deal.
Good.
It helps so much that we can now eliminate you.
I think
OK, what's
it could
your
be
answer?
Mickey, because, like, I can
I've
imagine
got-
him sort of saying as, like, a fun dad, like, I got 4,000 or 5,000 songs on my iPod.
I've got... Because... I've got 4,000 or... How many Chas and Dave songs are there?
It's more than one and fewer than 4,000. I'm going to have to
don't
make
know
you
for
plump
sure.
for one.
They've been going a long time.
Plump.
OK.
I think...
Bit harsh, bit harsh.
It wasn't an abuse. You're very slender. I was using the imperative verb, meaning to choose. Decide.
OK.
I think it could be Lance.
Yeah, I do too. I really do.
Your answer is Lance Armstrong? Your answer is correct. Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for, and a quick look at the scores tells me this week's winners are Richard and Josie. Thank you to Mickey and Rod, and to Richard and Josie, and to our guest narrator, John Craven. And we leave you with this quotation from American novelist James A. Baldwin. When one begins to live by habit and by quotation, one has begun to stop living. Oh, thanks a lot, James. Don't I feel a dick? Good night.
Till Death Do Us Part is not quite working for Rod. Too bad she can't just